Casey, Dominic, Casey.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Mr. Casey, how are you employed, sir?
Private investigator and security officer.
Are you licensed as such in the state
Yes,
of Florida?
ma'am. In the state of Florida.
How long have you been so licensed?
In the state of Florida since March of 2008.
Since March of 2008.
In the state of Florida, correct.
On October 1st of 2008, were you employed by George and Cindy Anthony?
Correct.
Now, prior to that, you had been employed by the Baez law firm? Briefly.
Correct.
You clearly terminated your relationship with the Baez law firm as of October 1st, 2008. Is that right? You had terminated your relationship with the Baez law firm.
That is correct.
And upon your termination then, on October 1st of 2008, you were employed then by George and Cindy Anthony.
That would be true, but it was actually prior to, because there were services being performed for George and Cindy Anthony prior to that.
Okay, sir.
So it was kind of overlapped.
All right, sir. Now, what specifically were you doing for George and Cindy Anthony?
Following up on tips that they received through the tip line and doing their security work.
Security.
Security. Investigation.
In relation to the security aspect, can you describe what you were doing for them in that regard?
There was protesters at the house, at the home.
And these protesters would congregate at the Anthony home?
They would congregate at the Anthony home mid to late afternoon and hang around there until could be 10, 11, 12, 1 or 2 in the morning, whatever time they decided to.
Approximately when did these protesters start congregating at the Anthony home in terms of a date?
In the terms of the date, that would be to the best of my recollection, around first week of September.
All right. And then they congregated there for approximately how long, sir? Until approximately what date?
Until the end of October.
Question.
Your Honor, I'm going to tie this up. It has to do with some activity that he conducted.
Overruled at this point. You may continue.
We don't need to belabor this, sir, but approximately, was it until approximately the end of October that you were providing the security aspect because of the protesters?
That would be correct.
Okay. Now, in connection with providing the security aspect, did it cause you to park your vehicle on Suburban Drive?
Yes.
Okay. And why would you park your vehicle on Suburban Drive?
When I would leave at nighttime, very last thing, when all the protesters had left, I would exit onto Chickasaw Trail. I would head north to Curry Ford Road, and on the corner there's a BP gas station. I would stop in there, get a coffee or a drink of some type, wait around there for 5 or 10 minutes. I would drive back to the Suburban Drive location and just sit and park in the event that some of the protesters had waited and thinking that I had left and then snuck on back and caused a problem. So I would sit there approximately maybe 20 to 30 minutes at the most.
Now, sir, would you do this every evening between approximately the 1st of September until approximately August 31st of 2008?
There was the odd evening, no, because the protesters would have left early. You know, it would have been, you know, the later the time got by. The last 2 weeks of October, there was very few. And they would leave earlier.
would it have been more likely than not that you would have done this on most evenings?
I didn't hear what you said, I'm
Would it have
sorry.
been more likely than not that you would have parked your car in the vicinity of Suburban Drive on most evenings during that time range?
Would I have parked there most evenings?
Yes.
That would be correct.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Sir, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit FG for identification. You recognize this, sir, as the general vicinity of Suburban Drive here in Orange County, Florida?
Yes, I do.
And does this particular exhibit show the area of Suburban Drive where you would normally park your car most evenings between September 1st and October 31st, 2008?
We're referring to the 20 to 30 minute period after I had left, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Could you put an A on that diagram where you would be parking your car on Suburban Drive during the time period we've been referencing? And then draw an arrow to show what direction your car would be pointed in?
Okay.
Now, at the same time that you were in the vicinity that you've indicated on Suburban Drive during the evenings, would you also see other persons in that area?
Yes.
Specifically, what persons or groups would you see in that area during those time periods?
If you started going, I guess that would be east toward the school. If you went further down, most of the nights there would be a sheriff's car, deputy sheriff's car. There would also be one or two of the independent media vehicles that would park up and wait and sit there.
All right, sir.
You may.
So let me retrieve that from you. At this time, I would introduce defendants FG and evidence.
What says the state?
Did he mark? No objection, Judge. Thank you.
You received an evidence as defense exhibit numbered.
Your Honor, may I publish to the jury, please?
You may.
Mr. Baez, may I have your assistance in how to do this? Just put it here. Thank you. Yes, can you see that, Mr.
Nah.
Casey?
No, ma'am. I
Now-
can see it now.
A would be your car. I'm sorry, how do I publish this?
It's
Yes, that's
it's
a-
published now to the jury.
Thank you, Your Honor. A would be the location of your car.
That would be the approximate. And the reason that I say approximate is because if you look the way the road bends around, I would always make sure I'm parked so that the front of the vehicle was facing west
That would be towards Hope Spring.
toward Hope Spring. So anybody coming up of Chickasaw to Suburban Drive, if they drove there, they would see the front of my vehicle there. And they would U-turn around.
Now, the media and law enforcement that you were previously discussing, would they be between your car and Hope Spring, or would they be past your vehicle farther towards the entrance to the school?
The law enforcement, they would normally park further behind so that you wouldn't be able to see them unless you actually drove around where the road bends. The media people, like the independent ones, they would park anywhere. They park up at the front, or like in front of me, they'd be parked, or they could be further down.
Now, as you park during most evenings between September 1st and October 31st, would you have your car ignition on or off?
It would be off, and I would have the windows down.
Did you at any time notice anything out of the ordinary, any odors out of the ordinary on those dates in the vicinity of Suburban Drive?
No, I did not.
All right, sir. At the end of October 2008, did you participate in the sending of a teddy bear from Cindy Anthony to a person named Luke Phillips?
I'd have to ask to rephrase the question, because my answer would be no, but yeah, I did facilitate a teddy bear.
Okay. And how did you facilitate the sending? First of all, at what time are we talking about? Would this be near the end of October 2008 that you facilitated?
Approximately that time.
And how did you facilitate the sending of a teddy bear between Cindy Anthony and Luke Phillips?
I got a...
And let me caution you, do not relate to me any statements anyone told you. Just describe for me what you actually did.
I acquired an address from Luke Phillips. I provided the address to Cindy Anthony and asked Cindy Anthony if she could mail something of Caylee Marie's to Luke Phillips. And she said yes. She forwarded a teddy bear.
How do you know it was a teddy bear?
Because Cindy told me it was a teddy bear.
Okay. Now, do you know whether this bear was returned from Cindy Anthony or returned to Cindy Anthony from Luke Phillips?
No.
Did you receive a package from Luke Phillips at your office?
Yes.
Okay. And was that package for Cindy Anthony?
Excuse me?
Was that package for Cindy Anthony?
Yes, but it was addressed to DNA investigations, something like care of, but it was for Cindy Anthony.
And as a result of that, did Cindy Anthony come to your place of work?
I don't exactly recollect whether she actually came to the office, or I believe that we met halfway somewhere along the 436 Cimarron Boulevard area. And I handed Cindy, when I called Cindy and I said, the teddy arrived back. And she said, well, open it up and just...
Try not to tell me what was said. I apologize. Try not, just tell me what you saw.
I had a sealed box, and I arranged to meet Cindy Anthony. And I brought the sealed box to Cindy Anthony.
And did you see Cindy Anthony open the box?
Cindy opened the box. And
did you view what was inside the box?
I could see Teddy.
All right. You could see a teddy bear.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Referred to as, to my understanding, Teddy.
Now, when was the bear returned by Luke Phillips to Cindy Anthony?
I'd be going off recollection, ma'am. I'll be guessing at that one. I'm around the end of October, maybe.
All right. Would this have been clearly after Caylee Anthony was indicted and back in jail?
Oh, it was way up. The request for Teddy, or request for an article, was way after Casey was sent back to jail in October 14. So it was way after that. It was a couple to 3 weeks after.
All right, sir, thank you. Now, sir, on November 15th of 2008, did you go with a man named James Hoover? Well, let me stop myself a minute. We talked about this fellow named Luke Phillips. Who is Luke Phillips?
Luke Phillips is a person that contacted the family right in the beginning. That would be July of 2008, and offered help. And to my understanding, Luke Phillips represented some people, 2 or 3 people, I'm not sure, that they call psychics.
So to the best of your knowledge, Luke Phillips is employed as a psychic.
No, he is not employed as a psychic. He is employed as something else, but he works with people with psychic abilities, and he aids in searches for people.
All right, sir. Now, on November 15th of 2008, did you go with a man named James Hoover to Suburban Drive?
I didn't hear the question. I'm terribly sorry.
That's quite all right. November 15, 2008, did you go with a man named James Hoover to Suburban Drive?
Yes, I did.
Who is James Hoover?
James Hoover was a volunteer that arrived at the Anthony's family home within a few days of the protesters starting, and volunteered services where he would provide security.
Did he work for you?
He did not work for DNA Investigations, which is my agency, or myself.
Now, on November 15 of 2008, and sir, I don't want you to tell me anything that you were told, all right? But were you, in fact, on a cell phone in the vicinity of Suburban Drive?
Yes, I was.
And who were you talking with on the cell phone without telling me anything that was said? Who were you talking with?
Jeanette Lucas.
And what is Jeanette Lucas's profession, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, she is a psychic.
Now, did you go into the wooded area on Suburban Drive on November 15th?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Sir, I'm going to show you what we've already previously introduced. Well, let me put it on the screen here. I'm not getting this.
Can you bring it that way a bit?
I can do whatever we need here, I think.
That way.
I say that. And, oh, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Very much. I appreciate
You
it.
want it published to the jury?
I would like that, Your Honor.
That's defense exhibit.
This is, I'm afraid to touch it now. 64, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm told, Mr. Casey, that if you touch your monitor, you can actually draw on this, all right? I don't know if you've used one of these before, but now on November the 15th, did you go with Mr. Hoover to an area on Suburban Drive?
Yes.
Can you show us with the letter B on here where you went the first time on November 15th that you went to the vicinity of Suburban Drive?
Do you want me to draw a B on here?
Yes, I think you can just take your finger and put the letter B wherever it is that you first went.
I'm going to say I'm going from approximate, okay?
Yes.
and nothing happened.
We're doing something wrong. All right, sir. Now, did you go in your car or Mr. Hoover's car?
It was in Mr. Hoover's car.
And why did you go to this location without, what were you looking for? Don't tell me anything anybody told you, but what were you looking for at this location on Suburban Drive?
I'd received a call from,
You could tell me that, but don't tell me what the person said on the call.
I had received a call from Jeanette Lucas early in that morning of November the 15th.
As a result of that, did you go to Suburban Drive?
As a result of that call, I went to Suburban Drive.
What were you looking for?
Jeanette Lucas had told me that,
No,
No,
oh, okay.
just tell us what you were looking for, sir.
what were you looking for?
The possible location of Caylee Marie Anthony.
All right. Now, when you first went to the location you've labeled B,
Mhm.
did you go into the wooded area?
At first,
Well, at first, what did you do?
we pulled up. We pulled up at approximately there. See where I just scribbled?
Yes.
Approximately there. I got out of the vehicle and then started headed that way toward the school.
Which side of the road were you on?
I was in the middle of the road.
All right.
I started headed there, and I told James Hoover, I said, stay in the vehicle. He said, where are you going? I said, just stay in the vehicle. I walked away far enough from the vehicle where I knew he would not be able to hear,
So that you could talk to Miss Lucas.
so I could talk to Miss Lucas.
All right.
I said I would call when I got to the location, so I called her.
And at some point, did you head into the woods?
Did I enter into the woods?
Yes.
Yes.
And can you show us where you entered into the woods initially?
This looks so different. Oh, there's a pencil.
All right, sir.
I'm going to say somewhere in that location. I'm just, that's approximate.
How far did you go into the woods initially?
Probably 20, 25 feet.
And how long did you spend in that location of the woods initially?
Initially,
Yes.
it was like a walk in, there was like a opening type thing where I looked for somewhere that you could go in without having to cut down shrubbery or something. So I walked into this area that I could see that had access.
All right. Now,
And
go ahead.
I apologize.
No, that's all right.
I was in there probably less than 10 minutes, maybe less than 5 minutes. When I actually walked in, I looked around, and then I came walking out.
And then what did you do?
I noticed as I came walking out, I saw James Hoover standing within probably about 10 feet from the curb into the woods with his arm like this. He had a video camera.
Did you know he was videotaping prior to that time?
I had no idea.
Did you ever give him any permission to videotape?
No,
Okay.
at that time, no, I did not.
All right. So what did you do next?
I said, what the so-and-so heck are you doing with a videotape, with a video camera? And he said, I'm just, he said, I wanted you to have something for your file.
Okay, don't try very hard not to tell me what it is the person saw. Try not to tell me what it is the person said. What did you do after you saw him with a video camera? Did you go into another area of the woods? Did you go to a different location? What did you do?
I came out of the woods and then I could see another opening into the woods.
Where
which would be coming west.
Can you show me on the drawing here where the second opening would be that you saw?
I'm going to say it's approximately there.
All right. And when you're talking about an opening, are you talking about a place where just the brush is cleared? Are you talking about what appears to be a trail? What are you talking about?
Easier to get into than you wouldn't have to be pushing trees or things around or things like that.
All right, sir. And did you go into the second area of the woods?
That I just put on? Yes.
Yes. And first of all, how far in did you get?
Again, it was no more than 20, 25 feet.
And go ahead. 20 or 25 feet from the curb or from?
From the edge of the curb. Mm-hmm. And the property went down. And then it would be like white, sandy, with 2 or 3 inches of water. So there was water within that. And it appeared as though the water ran from west to east. You could, if you looked at the current across the top of the water, you could see it flowing west to east.
And was the water right there at the curb, or did you have to get somewhat into the woods before?
No, ma'am. It was about 20 feet in.
All right. Now, how long did you spend in this area of the woods the second time? During the second, this would be your second excursion?
Could have been, again, I'm going from memory, say 10 minutes or so, just walking around the areas that you could actually.
Were you looking for anything in particular?
Yes.
What were you looking for? 3
white paver stones.
Were you looking for anything in addition to 3 white paver stones? Specifically, sir, were you looking for garbage bags?
Not specifically looking for garbage bags, no.
Did you see garbage bags?
Yes, there's a tremendous amount of garbage bags all around them.
All right. Now, how long would you say that you stayed in the woods this second entry, this time here in the second area?
Again, I'm going to be guessing, and I'm going to.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
You can ask the question.
Again, I'm going to be guessing, ma'am, and I'm going to say 10, maybe 12 minutes.
And from there, where did you go?
And then from there came out of the woods onto Suburban Drive, into the vehicle, and then around onto, you see that street that's across from the retention pond?
Yes. Could you just draw a blue line near it, please? What was located over there?
Excuse me?
What was located over there?
There was a vacant house.
And why did you go to the vacant house?
When I came up out of the woods before I got into the vehicle, I called Jeanette Lucas.
Yeah, but don't tell me anything.
I can't tell you anything. Okay, so what do I do? What would you like me to do?
As a result of talking with her, you went to the abandoned house, I take it.
As a result of speaking with Miss Lucas, I ended up at the house.
All right, sir. And can you approximately put an X where the abandoned house is, if it's on this map?
Can you see that one there with the dark roof?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the abandoned house, the one with the dark roof?
I believe that is the house.
All right, sir, and how long did you stay at the abandoned house looking?
I'm going to say, again, I'm going from memory, and it would be maybe 10, 12 minutes.
All right. And once again, were you looking for the same three paver stones?
3 paver stones.
Okay. Now, we see you cutting open some garbage bags in the videotape.
Mm-hmm.
You've had an opportunity to view the videotape, haven't you, sir?
Excuse me?
You've had an opportunity to view the videotape.
Yes, ma'am.
And why are you cutting open the garbage bags?
To see what was inside of them.
Okay. All right, sir. Now, after you finished at the abandoned house, did you go back to the woods that day, or did you go somewhere else?
No, from the abandoned house, we went to a hotel, which I'm not sure what the name is, by the airport, because prior arrangements have been made to pick somebody up there to bring them over to the meet and greet.
And this meet and greet was a event that was being hosted by Cindy and George Anthony?
That is correct.
All right, sir. Now, the next day, November 16th, did you go back to Suburban Drive?
Yes.
All right. Where did you park when you went back on November? First of all, why did you go back on November 16th?
To prove a psychic wrong.
All right. And did you take Mr. Hoover with you the second time?
Yes, I did.
And where did you park on that date? Let me clear this. All right. We're on November 16th now. Where do you think you parked on November 16th?
I'm going to say I'm going from memory again, but I'm going to say it's within the same vicinity.
All right, now that's a pretty big circle there.
I know it is, isn't it? It's too big.
Were you expanding your search on the 16th? Were you trying to cover more area? What were you doing?
No, went through the same openings.
2 openings in the...
Correct.
Okay.
Went through the same openings and just wanted to pan around and just look and see, like, did I miss anything that, can I say what the person was saying to me?
No.
Okay. But I had been instructed to look.
Did you see any remains of Caylee Marie Anthony in the woods on November 15th or 16th?
No, absolutely not.
And was that what you were looking for?
That is the purpose of going out there.
Okay. How much time on November 16th do you think you spent in these woods looking for Caylee Anthony?
Again, I'd say 12 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I'm going from memory, so I'm totally unsure.
And Mr. Hoover was with you again?
That would be correct.
Now, at this time, he's also videotaping you. You've had a chance to see the videotape. He's videotaping you again.
That is correct,
Now,
with my approval.
All right. And at the second time, it looks like you have a stick that allows you to probe the earth. Did you bring the stick so you could probe the earth?
I brought the probe because the ground condition was soft and silty sand. So it was like you either had the choice of like sticking your hands in there, and there would be leaves and trash and everything else, so it could be used to go ahead and move those around without taking the chance of, I mean, we saw like plenty of snakes out there. So I'd rather use that as far as doing that. And then just pushed it down in certain areas to see if there was anything that touched the end of the probe or a resistance in any manner.
And did you find what you were looking for?
No.
Now, did you also go back to the abandoned house, the one with the dark roof that you previously indicated to us on the map?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you again probe there as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go back to Suburban Drive a third time?
Yes, I did.
And this time was Mr. Hoover with you?
No, he was not.
Now, when was it that you went back to Suburban Drive a third time?
I was on the way to the Anthony residence, and I guess it would be on the Tuesday or the Wednesday following the 15th and the 16th. So 15th, 16th, so you could say 18th or 19th. I believe it was on the Tuesday, the 18th.
All right,
Or
sir.
Wednesday, the 19th.
What was the purpose of going back yet a third time?
Relief.
I'm sorry?
Relief.
Relief. Were you looking for anything in particular?
I did not go into the woods at all.
What exactly did you do?
I parked my vehicle. I got out of my vehicle.
Well, show us where you parked your vehicle. Let me clear this so that. All right, sir, show me where you parked the vehicle on the Tuesday. Did you say Tuesday the 18th?
Yes, it was either the Tuesday or the Wednesday.
All right, sir.
Or maybe it was the Monday. I think it was the Tuesday.
And
Somewhere in that area, in that location.
where did you walk, sir?
Excuse me?
Draw a line to show us your path, the path that you walked.
I walked east, and then from east, I came west, and walked west, and then I walked back to my vehicle right there, got in my vehicle and drove off.
All right, sir. What were you looking for as you walked that length of woods that you've indicated on this map?
I wasn't walking the woods, and I wasn't looking for anything.
You were walking in the street.
I walked in the center of the street.
All right, but what were you looking in the direction of the woods?
I was just looking all around and feeling like I was feeling really, really happy about it.
Did you see the 2 points of entry that you'd previously searched on the 15th and the 16th of November?
Yes, I did.
Were there any other openings that you did not search that you saw?
It's highly possible. I couldn't really say.
Nothing drew your curiosity, though?
No.
Okay. At any time, when you were in the woods on the 15th, 16th, or either the Tuesday or Wednesday following that, did you see or handle any physical evidence related to this case in any way?
Not to my knowledge. No.
At any time while you were in the woods on those dates on Suburban Drive, did you see any bags or debris that appeared to contain human remains?
My goodness, no.
May I have just one moment, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you, sir. No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Before we proceed to cross-examination, any members of the jury need a comfort break. Anybody need a break? You may proceed with cross-examination.
Mr. Casey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I believe you had stated early on that when you first got involved in this case, you were working for the Baez law firm for a period of time.
That would be correct.
And then afterwards, you went to work for the Anthonys.
That would be correct.
You had contact with Caylee Anthony while she was out of jail between August 22nd of 2008 and October 14th of 2008, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And in fact, your job was to investigate the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Caylee Marie Anthony, correct?
That is correct.
That is to follow up tips.
Excuse me?
You were following up some tips.
Yes, sir.
All right. And to do whatever investigation needed to be done.
That would be true.
All right. You never asked Caylee Anthony about. We talked about, I'm sorry, on direct examination, it wasn't.
Well, let's approach the bench. All right, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Mr. Casey, we left off with establishing that at one point you worked for Mr. Baez and then you went to work for the Anthonys, correct?
Correct.
For both Georgia and Cindy Anthony.
Correct.
It would be fair to say, though, would it not, that even after you went to work for George and Cindy Anthony, you had regular communication and contact with Mr. Baez? From time to time?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go, first let's go straight to November 15th. The first time that you went to the area off of Suburban Drive, you had testified on direct examination that you went there, for the most part, because of a woman by the name of Jeanette Lucas, correct?
That is correct.
And she was a psychic.
That is correct.
And she directed you there.
Excuse me?
She directed you there.
She threatened me?
She directed you to that area.
Yes, sir.
All right. Would it be fair to say that by this time in November of 2008 that Cindy Anthony was pretty desperate to find out what happened to her daughter? I mean, her granddaughter?
Sustain.
How would you describe Cindy Anthony's mood and her demeanor during the month of November of 2008 while the search for her granddaughter was going on?
Overruled.
What would you like me to do?
How would you describe Mrs. Anthony's mood during that time period?
Traumatized, distraught. Traumatized, distraught. She was missing her granddaughter and there was a missing child and her daughter.
And George Anthony was similarly traumatized and distraught, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
So when you went into the woods on November 15th, it was to help them, correct?
Excuse me?
It was to help George and Cindy Anthony when you went into the woods on November 15th, wasn't it?
No, I would not describe it as that. You said that was to help them?
It was to help them find if she was in fact there, to help her grandparents, to help the grandparents find some closure, right? Find some answers.
I wouldn't quite put it that way, no.
Okay.
I was going there, as I stated, at the direction of a psychic that had, can I say this, that called me? Can I say that?
The woman's name?
Huh?
I'm sorry. You went there at the direction of Jeanette Lucas, correct?
Jeanette Lucas called me on Saturday, November the 15th, early morning.
And without going into
that was the sole purpose of me going there. It was not to facilitate anybody or anything or other than follow up on that tip.
Cindy Anthony did not send you into those woods on November 15th, correct?
No, absolutely not.
George Anthony did not send you into the woods on November 15th, 2008, correct?
Absolutely not.
All right. Now, may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification, RO. Do you recognize what that picture is? Put it another way, do you recognize Suburban Drive?
Yeah, I believe it's Suburban Drive.
Okay. If you would, sir, if you would take one of the colored pens, I think there's a blue pen in front of you. There you go. And again, on November 15th of 2008, can you indicate with that blue pen first where you believed your car, your vehicle was parked on Suburban Drive, if you can, from that photograph?
I cannot accurately do from this because it's a very deceptive photograph by the angle that it's taken. It's an aerial shot that's going down, where the other photograph that I saw was a direct. So I could see more of a direct road. I mean, I can put an approximate, but it's not going to be definite.
Can you see where there is a curve in the road?
I can see the curve in the road over here. This curve? Is that what you're asking me?
Do you see that curve in the road, sir?
I see that curve.
Okay. Do you also see a fence line in that picture?
Excuse me?
Do you also see a fence line in that picture?
This here?
Does it look like a fence line to you?
It sure does.
Okay. Yes, that fence line.
Okay.
Looking at those two landmarks, would that photograph help you, or would you be able to delineate with that blue marker where you parked your vehicle on November 15th of 2008?
I did not park my vehicle because I was not driving my vehicle. It was James Hoover's vehicle. So where we parked the vehicle, is that?
Yes. How about we'll just change it to
Okay.
Mr. Hoover's vehicle?
I can approximately.
Okay.
I'm doing it in the blue one, right?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Also, with the blue marker, can you mark on that photograph where you believe you walked into the woods?
Okay.
Okay. And before I have you mark anything else on that, did you come out of the woods the same way that you went in on the 15th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you also mark with the blue pen, if you haven't already, how far into the woods you went on that day?
Well, that would be extremely inaccurate, wouldn't it? Because this is not a to scale photograph.
Okay.
And I would say I could, 20, 25 feet from the edge of the asphalt.
Okay. While we're on that subject, do you ever recall stating that you had actually gone into the woods between 30 and 40 feet, possibly even a maximum of 50 feet into the woods?
That's quite possible. See, once you get, oh, okay.
At this time, I'm sorry. At this time, Your Honor, the state would like to use what's been previously marked for identification RO and just to use it as a demonstrative evidence at this point.
Any object? You may.
May I publish this?
You may.
Thank you.
Oh, I can see it a lot better on here.
You can see it much better on the screen?
Yeah, it's a lot bigger.
All right. Now that it's bigger, is there anything that you would like to change about where you made your markings? Or they still look, albeit maybe not to scale, but as a general approximation of where you parked and where you went into the woods?
It was probably maybe a little bit going to the left of the picture.
Okay, so you're
So
talking,
more that X to the left there.
where you believe you went into the woods.
There you go. Do you see that there?
Okay. Are you more comfortable with that marking than you are the other two?
Yes, I would. I believe I would be, yeah.
Okay. May I approach the witness, John?
You may.
Yes, sir. This blue one?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you put another X where you believe more accurately reflects where you went into the woods? And for that X, why don't we circle it?
And with that X, put a circle?
Circle around it.
Okie dokie.
Now, is this the trip when you went into the woods where you saw the toilet bowl, or was that the next day?
Excuse me?
When you saw the broken toilet, was that on this trip or the next trip?
Actually, I believe it was on both.
Oh, okay. So you went to the same area both days?
Yes, sir.
And you described seeing an old toilet?
I didn't hear. I'm terribly
Did
sorry.
you see an old busted toilet in the woods?
Yes, there was an old toilet, and it was sitting in the woods.
And you saw 3 black trash bags?
Actually, numerous trash bags.
And were they on the ground or were they buried in the ground?
For the most part, they were sitting on the ground, like people are just like, for example, yard trash. Like a yard service maybe. I cut the grass and just like, psh.
And you cut them all open?
Excuse me?
Did you cut them all open?
A few of them, yes.
All right. You also found a bath mat, did you not?
Yes, a tore up bath mat.
Okay. It wasn't a towel or a blanket. It was a bath mat.
No, it was a bath mat, and I want to say it was a greeny in color, kind of a greeny.
Okay.
But I'll be going from memory. I'm just not sure.
And you didn't see a red Disney bag, correct?
Excuse me?
You didn't see a red Disney bag, correct?
A red what bag?
Disney.
Disney. No. No, there was no Disney there. No.
Okay. Be fair to say that this foray into the woods was not an exhaustive search.
No. Not at all.
Were you on the phone the entire time?
Was I on the time?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry if I'm not speaking clearly.
No, I'm just having difficulty hearing for some reason.
It's probably my fault. I apologize.
That's okay.
Were you on the phone the entire time that you were in this part of the woods on November 15th of 2008?
I wouldn't say the entire time. There was a couple of pauses in between telephone calls.
Okay. And I believe you testified that after you came out of this area, you went to an abandoned house on the other side of the street by the retention pond. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, fair to say that on November 15th, when you went into the woods here, there was a lot of water, wasn't there?
No, that would be unfair to say.
Okay. Was there water there at all?
Yes, sir, there was.
Okay. How much water? I believe you testified on direct examination that it was about 2 to 3 inches deep in some places.
Yes, sir. If you walked in about 20, 25 feet, you would be standing in water approximately ankle deep.
That's because after you're on Suburban Drive, when you go into the woods, there's a drop off, correct?
Yes, the elevation of the ground drops approximately 6 feet from the street elevation, and then it levels out, and then the elevation then goes from, let's see where we're at. It would go from west to east. So water would be traveling toward the dead end of the street.
So
You could see the current going in the water.
and we'll get to this, but just before I forget, when you went the next day, I'm sorry, you didn't go into the next day when you went into the woods, did you still see that same amount of water?
Yes.
Okay. And you
It
were,
would be fair to say was,
okay.
can I clarify something here?
I'm
Sir?
sorry, sir?
Could I finish what I was saying here?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, absolutely.
No, that's okay. I wouldn't say, I don't want you to be under the impression that it was like a river.
No, sir.
You know, it was like maybe 12, 15 feet, and then a dry spot, and then maybe 20 feet or something, you know. So I guess as it rained, it would, you know, but you could see a definite flow of water. I am finished now, I'm sorry.
No, don't be. I'm sorry if I cut you off.
Not at all.
After you cut open some of these black trash bags, did you do any other type of search? In other words, did you ever get on your hands and knees and dig through the muck looking for anything?
No, on here?
On November
suburban?
5th,
No.
on November 15th.
No, sir.
Okay. May I approach the witness, Judge?
You may.
Thank you. All right, sir, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification RP. And I don't believe your eyes are playing tricks on you. I believe it's the same photograph.
Yes, sir, it appears to be the same.
Okay. Now I want to take you to the next day, November 16th of 2008. Did you go back to the area of Suburban Drive?
Yes, sir.
Did you take a look into the woods?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sure,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Did you-
having difficulty hearing for some reason.
Did you walk through the woods? Did you search?
Went into the woods in the same area,
Yes.
correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Now you have a red pen in front of you. Let's use the red pen for November 16th. Can you approximate using that photograph where, did you take your car this day or Mr. Hoover's?
Mr. Hoover's.
All right. Where did, if you can, do you recall where Mr. Hoover parked the car on November 16th of 2008?
Should I put an X there, or what would you like me to write?
Sure.
I put an X with a circle,
All right.
and that's approximate.
Okay. Were you on the phone with Jeanette Lucas on this date? During this time?
I believe so. That's 3 years ago. So I believe I was. Yes. Yes. Yes, I was.
When you went back on the 16th, did you go at Jeanette Lucas's behest? Did she tell you to go there?
She said you need to go back there. I think there's a missing piece here. I don't know what to do.
Did
The
you,
end of the day on Saturday, can I say this?
hold on a second. I don't want you to be confused. I'll take you back there. After you, let's for a second go back to November 15th. After you left the woods, after your search, did you get in contact with Jeanette Lucas?
I tried to, and I got a hold of Luke Phillips.
Okay.
And I said, Jeanette Lucas is full of nonsense.
Don't
Oh, okay.
talk
okay.
about what Mr.
So that's what I can't say.
Don't talk about what Mr. Phillips may have said to you.
Okay.
Did you speak with Jeanette Lucas on that day, on the 15th?
In the evening, no.
Okay.
I did not.
Let's go to November 16th. Did you speak with Jeanette Lucas on November 16th?
The morning on the Sunday, the 16th, yes.
Okay. Did you tell her about where you had gone and what you had seen?
Can I answer that?
Question calls for yes or no. Did you tell her?
Did I tell her what?
what you had seen, what you saw, and what you did on
Yes, sir, I
Suburban
did.
Drive. All right. After speaking with her, did you go back to Suburban Drive on the 16th?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Was that as a
This was, I think you're jumping it. I think I may be getting mixed up here. I spoke with Miss Lucas, Jenny, from Suburban Drive.
Yes, sir.
So that's what you're talking about. We're both talking about the same thing, right?
I hope so.
The 16th, on the Sunday.
Yes.
Yes, I was on Suburban Drive while I was talking to her.
Okay. Just like you were on the 15th.
Yes, sir.
All right. When you went back, now you've marked where. Okay.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. You had the red marker, correct?
The red marker?
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Can you mark on that photograph where you believe you first went into the woods on Suburban Drive on November 16th of 2008?
I put an X in a square.
Okay. Did you exit the woods at the same location in which you entered it?
I believe I did, yes.
Okay. When you walked into the woods, did you change direction or did you just walk straight ahead?
No, I changed direction.
Okay. Can you mark on that photograph where you believed your path of travel in the woods on November 16th of 2008?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Can I do that now?
Please.
Okay, and I put a line from the X with the square,
Okay.
and I put an arrow on,
Okay.
and that would be heading west.
Okay. I'm not real good with that. Is that west towards the school or west
No, sir.
towards Hope Spring?
Toward Hope Spring.
Okay. Did you still see water on the ground?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you take anything else with you on this search that you didn't have the day before?
Yes, I did.
What did you have?
I had a probe,
Was that all you had?
and I had a little trowel, like a potter's trowel.
Like a little shovel?
No, I wouldn't call it a shovel. It's a big thing, isn't it?
A little shovel.
Yeah, one you put in your pocket. You'd put in the plant pots.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Little ones.
I'm sorry. I call it a shovel.
Okay.
But I think we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Did you use that trowel on the 16th in the woods?
I don't believe I used it in the woods, and if I did, I would have used it just to lift something over.
Okay.
But I didn't put it in the ground. To my knowledge, I didn't anyway.
You may.
Yes, sir.
At this time, at this time, the state would like to use RP as a demonstrative aid.
You may.
Thank you. All right, how's that look?
It's not on.
I don't see anything.
I'm sorry. May I publish?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I see it. It's there now.
All right. Does it look better to you now on the big screen?
Excuse me?
Does it look better to you on the big screen?
Yes, I see things a lot better.
All right. Is there any difference or change where you'd like to mark where you went into the woods and where you went out of the woods? Or is this accurate?
It's going to be within the same region,
Okay.
plus or minus 10 feet, you know?
All right. And to be clear, the X with the square is where you entered the woods, correct?
The X with the square?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And the X with the circle is where you would have come out.
No, sir. That would be where the vehicle was parked.
I'm sorry. You're correct. That's what you said before. So you went in the direction of Hope Spring Drive searching. Yes. Was Mr. Hoover with you step for step?
Step by step?
Was he with you?
Was he with me on that day?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was he walking with you in the woods or was he hanging out on the street?
He was hanging out about 10 feet back from me and came into the woods behind me.
Okay. And I believe you had testified earlier that you were aware that he was taping.
He was hazing?
He was taping. He was videotaping. Were you aware of that?
No. No, I need to clarify that.
Okay.
I was aware and I approved that he could videotape with the understanding there would be no audio. I have since learned today for the first time there is audio on the tape, which I completely forbid him to do that. And that video must be handed to me because he said, I'm doing this to help you for DNA investigations files. Thank you. Very nice of you. That was the conditions. I find out today that he'd gone ahead and had the audio thing going.
So today was the first that you had learned that there was audio connected with the video that was taken back on November 15th and 16th of 2008?
It's the first time that I heard audio. It had been rumored before. I think some people had even said that.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Yes, sir, I do.
If you would try to document this photograph a little bit for me. You see where you have the X with the square?
Yes.
Would it be possible for you to write in there that that's where you enter woods?
You have to understand I'm going from the best of my memory. I mean, but this looks approximate, yes.
Okay. And where you have the X in the circle, can you put there, could you write, that is where you had indicated where the car was parked, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could you just write car parked?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, if there's a little bit of space or someplace to write on Suburban Drive there, could you write November 16th, 2008? And could you put your initials next to it? Okay. Thank you. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you, sir.
So that is RO. Did I give you back RO? I believe I did.
This one is our identification RO.
Okay. And on that one, you used the blue pen, correct?
I use this blue pen.
All right. And earlier you had made a marking of an X with a circle around it. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
And that indicated where you went into the woods and came out.
Yes, sir.
Can you write in the blue pen that where you can enter woods?
I wrote enter woods and I put an arrow and up like that.
All right.
So I put an arrow down the road. I'm pointing up to it.
You also had a marking in blue pen on that photograph at where you or where the car was parked, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of like a scribbly circles.
Okay. Can you indicate somewhere in there that that is where the car, just write car parked?
Okay, I wrote it to the right so you could see it.
Okay.
And I brought a line across with an arrow on those circles.
Thank you, sir. And if you would again at the bottom of the street, if you could write the date that
November 15th?
November 15th, 2008. And would you initial that as well, sir?
Yes, sir, I would.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
That's the only pen I had.
Mr. Casey, you had indicated that about a week or so after this second visit, you went a third time to the area at Suburban Drive, correct?
Within a couple of days.
All right. You had indicated that you had walked the street of Suburban Drive up to the school and then back down the Hope Spring Drive and then back to your car, correct?
Nope. I
All
did
right.
not
I'm
walk
sorry,
to
I got that wrong.
toward Hope Spring, but not to Hope Spring.
Okay.
But yes, I walked towards the school and then came back towards Hope Spring, walked a little past my vehicle,
Okay.
turned back around, walked back to my vehicle, got in the vehicle.
And you never left the street?
No, I walked directly down the middle of the street.
Okay. You never went into the woods that day?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Casey, thank you very much. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Thank you.
Approach the witness, Your Honor.
You may.
I'm showing you what's been marked as a state's identification RO, Mr. Casey. Does that represent the first entry into the woods on November 15th or the 2nd?
The 15th?
Yes.
Yes.
You went in twice, right?
Yes.
Is that the first entry or the second entry?
Well, the first entry would be more where the X is in the circle.
Okay, could you put a 1 near the first entry?
I don't have a pen.
Is that a blue pen?
Yes. Thank you very much. Well, Sorry, sorry.
I didn't do very well, that was my fault.
There you go. So I'll put a 1. I'm going to put it to the left of there, to that circle, and initial it. Is that right?
That would be fine.
There you go.
And put a 2 where the second entry was.
I put a 2 and I initialed that.
All right, those are the entries into the woods. And could you draw a circle to show the area of the woods that you think you walked in the first and second time you actually entered the woods?
There you go.
All right, great. Now, you keep using the word estimation. Why do you keep saying these estimations?
Well, number 1, I know I have a tape measure.
You didn't have a tape measure.
No, I did not have a tape measure, so I wouldn't be able to measure it. And I'd be going off of 3 years of memory, and
Okay.
so
Now,
I'm approximating where I would be.
between November the 15th of 2008 and today, has anyone from law enforcement sat down with you and shown you pictures and asked you to explain where it was that you went on the video during this excursion?
Overruled.
Between 2008 and today, has anyone from law enforcement sat down with you with a map like this and asked you to explain where you walked that day?
The state attorney's office did.
Did you draw a map for them?
I put some circles or some X's.
How long ago was that, sir?
Will we say March of 2011?
March of 2011?
Is that correct?
Is that correct, sir?
I believe it was around March of 2011.
Your Honor, may counsel approach sidebar, please?
You may.
Mr. Casey,
Just a second. You may proceed.
thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Casey, this event that you just referenced that occurred in March of 2011.
This year.
Yeah, this year. That was a normal discovery deposition?
Yes, I went to the state attorney's office
Okay.
and did a deposition.
And there was a court reporter present like the one here today,
There was
right?
a young lady like this.
All right. Prior to that time, I'm talking about back in 2008 or 2009 when things were a little fresher in your memory. Did anyone with the Orange County Police Department or the Sheriff's Office sit down with you and ask you to map out or detail where you'd been in the woods on November 15th or 16th?
Not to my knowledge at all.
Okay. Now, on these days, November 15th and 16th, did you have a tape measure with you?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Were you trying to reference anything particular out there that would allow you to recreate this event 3 years later? Any particular markers in the woods or light poles, anything like that? Were you trying to specifically make a mental note so that 3 years later you'd be able to testify to this event?
Yes, absolutely. I took some still photographs.
Okay. And you also obviously have this videotape.
I have the videotape?
No, you've seen the videotape. We all have the videotape.
Yes, correct.
And would you agree that the videotape is the accurate representation of where you were in the woods on those 2 dates?
I would say it is, yes.
Okay. So when you reference the state's exhibits, RP and RO as estimations, these are your best guess 3 years later, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That you don't necessarily say that they're absolutely accurate, correct?
No, I wouldn't say they're accurate, no. No.
All right. All right, thank you, sir. No further questions.
Any additional questions, Mr.
No, sir.
May Mr. Casey be excused?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Casey. You may be excused.
Thank you, Judge.